Hi guys, welcome to the KO show. This is actually the first episode. I am Kaz Crossley, one of your hosts, and I'm joined with...
Ollie Sutherland. Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking everything combat sports related, MMA, boxing, slap FC if need be, everything. So
we are the MMA fans, isn't it? We love it.
We're the go-tos when it comes to the world of combat sports.
We're not professionals. Nothing we say, take it as facts.
This is just our opinions.
This is our opinions, exactly. People are going to disagree with us.
Always.
People are going to agree with us.
Always.
We're going to look great while doing it. So yeah, subscribe and tune in.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna have a plethora of guests joining us.
Plethora.
Plethora.
You come up with some big words, Ollie.
Can we write that one down?
I don't know what that means.
we need a dictionary corner for Kaz, I swear to God.
No, I'm learning. This is all learning.
We're gonna have a lot of guests over the course of
We're gonna have a plethora of guests, my guy.
She got it. We're gonna have a lot of guests joining us. And today we're actually gonna be joined by the one and only Michael Venom Page, his first ever interview since signing with the UFC. So we're really, really excited about that. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, let's dive right into it. I mean, we had UFC 296 last night. We both stayed up and watched it together. How
amazing was those first couple of fights? Like the prelims, I felt like it went so fast. It was like really fast paced and knockout after knockout.
We had so many finishes. The thing is, that card on paper was unreal. As in, like, it was built to be an amazing card, but so often they are, and then they kind of disappoint with the way the fights play out.
Yeah, like that last one. What was it? It was Islam and Volkanovski. I was so excited about that card. I mean, it was just like...
Yeah, that card had a few early stoppages due to doctor stoppages and no contests. And like I say, that can often be the case. You got a big card on paper and it doesn't play out. Mm-hmm. This was the opposite. This was a big card on paper and then played out even better than I imagined it. I want to get right into it. So I was very, very excited to see Cody Garbrandt. And he didn't disappoint. I mean,
we love our Cody.
Listen, we're big fans of Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, we might fancy him,
Little bit of a man crush on Cody Garbrandt. It is what it is. Can't believe I just admitted that on camera, but yeah, here you go. But yeah, his performance I thought was outstanding, and I genuinely think this puts him back up there in the who's who of the bantamweight division.
Yeah. So how long has he been out for, or has he fought recently?
That's a good question.
Because everyone was pretty much excited to see him come back. Expecting.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that long. It was in March when he got the decision win over Trevin Jones. But I think prior to that, he had had some tough fights. I think since winning the belt against Dominic Cruz, and then he had the tough fights with T.J. Dillashaw, and then it kind of put question marks around his name. So to see him back in the winning column like this is really
he looked really fast. He looked really strong.
Yeah, and I know it's early days because he's still has some climbing to do. But a fight between him and Sean O'Malley, I think is really, really exciting. They've got very, very similar heavy boxing styles. They both kind of got similar trash talk style, and even their swag is kind of the same. So a fight between those two, I think, could be really exciting.
And he's really young as well. He's only 32.
He's still only 32. He's still got, he still hasn't technically reached his prime in terms of the perfect age. A lot of people think you don't reach that until you're 35. So exciting things to come for Cody. So I'm looking forward to that.
A fight for me that really stood out, and I know I'm just biased because I do this women empowerment thing, but Aldana and Rosa.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. That fight for me, arguably, was fight of the night.
It did get fight of the night
there
as well.
There you go.
It officially got fight of the night.
Rightly so. For me, and this is what I've been saying about MMA. One of the things I love about it is the women are always up there with the men. You often get women as the main event. It's not like other sports where they're kind of two separate. You got women's football and men's football, and they're separate. You have women and men fighting on the same card, and very often you have women's fights being the fight of the night, as was the case last night. And yeah, that was. I would not want to be a judge in that seat last night.
It was very split, right? Like I felt like it was very even. Obviously, the first one went to Rosa, and then the second it was Aldana. The third was very evenly matched.
This is the thing. She ended up getting the unanimous decision, which surprised me. I thought it was going to be a split decision.
Yeah, we did think it was going to be a split.
But yeah, I think it went to the right person. The W went in the right column. However, it could have gone either way. I wouldn't have been surprised either way. It was they were throwing some heavy hands.
Was mad. The leg kick that Rosa
was landing. Yeah. She was chewing up that leg.
But she just kept taking it. I was like, you can check it, right? Or can you not? Because I never see that. I obviously do Muay Thai and stuff. So I'm like, would you not check
leg
that
kick?
kick?
But it's harder. Often with the outside leg kick, they'll kind of soften the leg and sit on it, and then maybe exchange with an overhand, or they'll pick it up, or they'll scoop it back. With the inside leg kicks, they're a little bit harder to do.
Going inside and outside, like completely just chopping it.
Which was mainly hitting the inside, which was a little bit harder to defend. But she kind of, her defense to that was almost just keep coming forward
Keep coming.
with those heavy hands, and it worked for her in the end. So that was an amazing fight, and I'll be very excited to see them two fight again, either in a rematch or just in their own separate lanes.
Yeah, we need the rematch for sure.
Can't not mention Josh Emmett. I was so excited to see the return of Josh Emmett. A lot of people are thinking, I think he's 38 now, but they always say the power is the last thing to go. And he hits very, very hard for a 145er. Bryce Mitchell is kind of more of an up-and-comer. He had a great run on The Ultimate Fighter as well. Very interesting fighter, inside and outside of the cage. On paper, that was Bryce Mitchell's fight to win. But you can never
younger
rule
fighter,
out,
fresher, ready.
but you can never rule out Josh Emmett's power.
No.
And we were all saying if Josh Emmett's going to win that, it's going to be with a big overhand. And it was.
Doesn't he have like 5 overhand finishes or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And, we were sat there calling it, and then when it came, that was one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. I've never seen someone's lights out like that quickly.
Mate, you could see the power, and literally he literally put his head right down. His eyes were closed. It was crazy
that's typical Josh Emmett,
power, and he just fell asleep.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Bryce Mitchell. I hope he's okay. This is the game,
Yeah, he woke up, he looked fine. He was just like, what the hell?
But yeah, it was a scary one. He was actually kind of convulsing a little bit on the floor, so it was a big knockout. But yeah, congratulations to Josh Emmett, and excited to see where he goes from here, because he's not done yet. He proved that last night. He's not done yet.
Definitely not. Ferguson and Paddy,
we
the
have
baddie.
to talk about that.
Definitely.
So, again, on paper, that was an interesting fight. That was more of the up and comer versus the kind of the seasoned vet
legend,
in Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson's been doing this for a long, long time, and he's definitely a crowd favourite. He's arguably the people's champ in a lot of circles. He's been doing this a long time. Very, very interesting fighter. Again, inside and outside of the cage. Very obscure style of fighting. He'll throw elbows from anywhere. He'll dive in for Imanari rolls and try and get the heel hook. So he's a very interesting fighter to watch.
Unfortunately, time's just not on his side. I think 6-fight losing streak was it?
Now
or
seven,
it's
now 7-fight losing fight, I believe.
Right.
So it's sad to see, because I'm such a big fan of Tony Ferguson, and he's done so many amazing things. But I don't think this changes what he's done over his career.
No, definitely not. I think it's unfair for people to keep telling him to retire as well. I feel like it is the choice of the fighter. But even you guys were saying it too, like he didn't look the same.
This is an interesting point. This is a conversation I've had with a lot of people before, is when is it time for someone, a third party, to step in and say, I think you're done? And when is it on the fighter to go, look, if I want to keep doing this and getting paid, I'll keep doing it.
Well, yeah, and the UFC, if they're offering him the fights, then obviously he's going to take them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's an argument to be had that there's a responsibility of people around him, i.e. his coaches, his family, and the organisation, the UFC, to say, I think you're done for health reasons, or just because we don't want to see you keep on risking your health when you're not as likely to win. And I think there's an argument to be had there, but then that being said, we can't stop him if he wants to keep putting himself in there. And
could they not matchmake him with like the lesser...
They could.
The lower ranking fighters?
They could, but...
Just so he can come out on a high. Like, I just do want to see him break that.
I would love to see him go out on a win. And funny enough, Paddy Pimblett said the same thing. He said, I would love to see Tony Ferguson go out on a win.
Unfortunately,
it just can't be against me.
It's not going to be me.
And I get that. Do you know what, though? I'm a big Paddy Pimblett fan, but that wasn't his best performance by a long shot. I think he looked, considering how, in my opinion, how much slower Tony Ferguson looked compared to how he was in his prime, and how much stiffer he looked.
He should have got the finish.
I think Paddy Pimblett should have got the finish, and just a general.
I think the first round was really strong, and I think maybe, obviously, he did say that he just blew his load. I quote, that's what he said, and I think he just didn't have the cardio, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Ferguson was training with David Goggins, so that was why he got through them rounds.
We already knew Tony Ferguson's cardio was not going to be a problem. It was not going to be an issue. That was true before he trained with David Goggins.
Okay.
Having done Hell Week, the first ever person to survive Hell Week, shout out to Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
His cardio was never going to be an issue. His heart was never going to be an issue. It was always going to be, I think, speed, timing, and just speed and timing are generally the first things to go. Power stays for a long time, and I just think he wasn't able to pull the trigger like he used to be able to.
Right.
And I think one interesting observation was his hip flexibility didn't look like it was the same. This is a guy that's a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's used to being on his back and throwing up submissions, and he didn't look like he had that same...
Wonder if he has like some sort of injury or something. Because every time it kept going to the ground, he was not able to move his hips. Like,
I mean, we're talking about him like he's 80 years old. He's only 39, but...
That's what I said. Like, there's other people that look better for that age.
He's not a normal 39-year-old. He's a 39-year-old who's been in this game a long time. He's got a lot of mileage on that body, and it does take its toll. Any fighter will tell you, even just from drilling over and over again, your joints, it takes its toll on your body, and maybe we're starting to see that a little bit with Tony Ferguson.
I think mentally that's really hard to deal with, knowing that you once were this very capable, strong, up there fighter, and I think your mind always stays like that. So it's the body that needs to try and catch up to it.
And that can be sad to see in someone who, like I say, was once top 3, top 2, maybe even a champion, starting to slow down and still hasn't got that sting that they used to have. But like I said, it doesn't take anything away from him and his career and his legacy.
Exactly, and that's what he needs to remember too.
Let's move on. I mean, I could talk about that. I could talk about Tony Ferguson in general for a long, long time, and Paddy Pimblett and that fight. But we need to move on. I want to talk about Shavkat versus Wonderboy.
Well, we was really excited for this fight.
Excited. I'm a massive Wonderboy fan, and I'm really excited by Shavkat and what he's going to do. He's the up and comer, but 17 fights, 17 finishes.
Yeah, equal amounts of submissions to knockouts as well. This guy is insane.
He can do it all.
He's like perfect almost. If you look at the technique, everything, his results.
They speak for themselves.
Exactly.
And I was talking to one of the guys from the gym the other day, and he loves to try and call out the kind of the new rising star, and he goes, "This guy is the best welterweight on the planet right now."
Really?
And I was like, but then last night he looked that good.
He did. He
made Wonderboy look like he was out of his depth. And yeah, okay, again, Wonderboy, he's 40 years old.
Well, that's what I thought. That's why I said to you guys, like, he's 40. Why are you not talking the same way about him with Tony Ferguson? But you guys were saying, like, he's up on that level still. He's still fast. He's still quick. I could see his fight IQ is insane. Like, his takedown defense was 100%, I think, at one point. Like, this guy, Shavkat was not getting a takedown. Yep. So he is obviously, like, he's got the ability to beat him. I just don't think maybe it was his fight.
I think...
to do that.
Credit to Wonderboy. I think he probably gave Shavkat his toughest fight yet, just in terms of his resistance to the takedowns and the fact that Shavkat had to keep engaging in the grappling. I think he knew he was out of his depth when it came to the striking, which Shavkat isn't used to.
Yeah, of course. And then that's what you would do. You just keep going for the takedown.
Yeah.
I did think at one point it was going to go all the way. Like, maybe he's not going to get a finish this time, but then obviously Shavkat did what Shavkat does.
Yeah. But again, this doesn't take anything away from Wonderboy. This is a tough opponent. He looked amazing in his last fight against Kevin Holland. So the future's still bright for him. I don't think this is anywhere near the end of the road for him.
Do you think Shavkat now deserves a title match? Not yet?
Not yet. I think that division is so stacked. There's still a lot of guys he needs to get through before we can start talking about him as a title contender.
So who do you think is next for Leon Edwards then?
Bilal Muhammad.
Really?
But we're going to get into that in a bit. Don't rush ahead.
Okay, sorry.
Bit,
there's one more fight before Leon and Covington. So Pantoja and Royval.
Yeah, so that fight kind of... That fight kind of went as I thought it was. I think for me and for the fans in general, that probably wasn't the most exciting fight on paper. But that's only because this fight was so filled with these really dramatic fighters and these big storylines behind them.
Exactly. We do love a storyline compared to even just the technical ability. But
and I actually think that's a shame because their technical abilities are
crazy.
Outstanding.
Exactly.
And I think this kind of ties into what we were talking about. What we're going to go on to talk about is fighters feel this real urgency to sell the fight outside of the cage to get that excitement, because on paper, in terms of their skill set, that should have been arguably the most talked about fight on the card. But because they haven't got this kind of animosity and this beef, it kind of went under the radar a little bit, which is a shame. But
I don't think they're bothered about that though. I just think they just want the belt for the fans.
Yeah, and to be fair, amazing performance by Pantoja. As expected, in my opinion, I did have him as one of my picks. And yeah, he didn't disappoint.
And it did go all the way. We saw a 5-round fight then. I think all the fights up until then went really fast. And then this one, because there was no finish.
One thing about though... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and then you was kind of losing interest because of the storyline and stuff. We was getting nervous about Leon next.
Yeah. Like I say, we're going to go into that bit. But one thing of note before we move on is that it's a shame that Brandon Royval only decided to turn up in the 5th round the way he did. Because I think if he'd fought like that from maybe the 3rd round onwards, he could have stolen that fight.
You're right. Because
Pantoja... His cardio was looking like it was starting to wane a little bit.
It was, but
and Royval was still very much in then. When he really started to turn up in that 5th round, he was landing. I don't think there's an argument to say that he didn't win that last round, but again, by that point, it was too late.
I think the corner said to him, at the end, before that 1st round, they said you've got 1 round to win this title.
And they were
16 years for this 1 round, and that changed him. Yeah, so it's all the corner. What they say to the fight, we saw it in Leon's against Usman. Like, it definitely matters because we saw the change, and then unfortunately he couldn't get it. But I think well deserved to Pantoja for sure.
Yeah, great fight on both sides though, and we may see a 3rd.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The main event. The reason why we stayed up until 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m.
Something like that. I barely slept, but it's worth it. It was worth it for that card.
It was worth it, yeah. So, Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington.
Yeah, so for many, many reasons, that was a very exciting fight. Obviously, 2 welterweights at the top of their game. And then obviously with the unfortunate kind of back and forth beef that made it added even more gravity to the situation, in my opinion, and made it even more. It made it personal, of course.
It made it very, very personal. I mean, we was talking about how far should you go to do the trash talk, and yeah, it has to be entertaining. It has to sell events, but is it okay to diss someone's dead dad?
This is the thing, and this is where I stand on it. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, shut up, you snowflake, this is the fight game, whatever goes, goes. I disagree with that. I think this is, it's the fight game, but it's still a sport, and we're still human beings at the end of the day. I think we can talk about each other's styles and each other's abilities as harshly as we want, but when it comes to relatives, i.e. daughters, parents, grandparents, leave them out of it. They've got nothing to do with the fight. It'd be a little bit different if your dad was your coach and he's directly there talking shit to me.
Yeah,
we can have a little conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of, I think what Kobe said was completely over the line, and I think the MMA community in general agrees with us on that, and they're all kind of rallying for Leon on that. And I think it was really sad and quite moving actually to see Leon be so honest and open about how much it affected him after he said it. He said he went backstage and he cried out of frustration and anger, and he said it still breaks his heart to this day. He was 13 when he lost his dad, and I don't care what anyone says about what kind of line of work Leon's dad was in. No 13-year-old deserves to lose their father. No woman deserves to lose her husband in those circumstances. At the end of the day, even if Leon was this sort of character, Leon's dad was this sort of character, Leon doesn't deserve to be punished for that. So
no,
bringing that kind of stuff into it is just,
I think
it
shows a lot about Leon's character for him to still compliment Kobe and say, he's a really good competitor or something, but as a human being, he's disgusting.
Yeah, and I think that is completely bang on the money.
Yeah,
Kobe's
100%.
an amazing competitor, although he didn't look fantastic last night because Leon.
He looks absolutely shit, mate.
Well, Leon nullified him very, very well. I think, and again, that is credit to Leon Edwards that he would have gone in there with so much emotion, so much anger, so much frustration, and was still able to stick to the game plan, not get over emotional, not get over excited, and execute the game plan.
You talk about
perfectly.
the game plan, but I feel like there were so many opportunities Leon could have got on the feet, could have finished Kobe, but I think he did have like a point to prove when he kept going for grappling and going to the floor, and he wanted to kind of like beat Kobe at his game almost, like an ego choice of like instead of staying on the feet. I also feel like he was fighting in almost like second gear, almost. He was very like calculated with his decisions. He was holding back a lot. We was kind of shouting like, what are you doing? Go, let loose, go for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was just being smart, maybe clever, because we saw Usman the first time. He won all 5 rounds and then got knocked out. So maybe he didn't want that to happen.
And with someone as dangerous as Kobe, that can happen at any moment. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he was kind of in second/third gear, not because he was tired, but I think he was almost, in my opinion, again I haven't spoken to the guy, but almost worried about getting overexcited, over emotional if he was trying to turn up the pace too much. I think he obviously went in there knowing that he was kind of emotionally amped up and was very conscious of that. Thought, I'm going to make sure I keep myself a steady pace. I'm not going to overexert myself. I'm not going to go for anything wild and get caught, because that can happen when you're in an emotional state and you really want to hurt this guy. So I think he executed it perfectly. Could he have done more damage? Probably, but again, I think that was probably the mental side of it where he didn't want to get overexcited. But he did beat him at his own game, because Kobe is a pressure fighter. He's used to having people with their back against the fence, constant relentless striking, and then shooting for the takedown. And the only way to nullify that is to beat them at their own game and actually pressure them, and that's exactly what Leon did. And so credit to him, he got the win. And I'm biased on this one, but really, really happy for him. I'm so glad he got the win.
Of course. I just want to say I was pissed off that he ended like that, though, like getting battered by Kobe. And then Kobe was like celebrating like he won, like going doing this battle thing.
Kobe, he's always going to do that. I think he knew in his heart that he lost that. And where does he go from here? I don't know. I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. The less I see that guy, the better. Not because I don't think he's an entertaining fighter in the cage, but that in itself, that's enough to sell it. You don't need to go and start being... This
Leon, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love it.
So let's move on to other things. In other news, Jake Paul scores a devastating uppercut knockout against someone you've never heard of.
And moving on,
the price of petrol has now reached a record low in several weeks. That's genuinely more exciting.
No one knew that he was fighting. I didn't even know until it came up on my fucking feeds, bruv. Like, it was just this, it was like this really like slow almost
Do you know what it is?
knockout.
Yeah?
It was weird.
Disrespect to Jake Paul. I know he's a very polarizing figure. you can't knock what he's done. He's made a hell of a lot of money in this game, and to be fair, he's become a formidable boxer. He's a genuine boxer.
Yeah, and the face of this YouTube
But
stuff.
I don't understand what the motivation was going from Tommy Fury. That was meant to be him saying, "Look, I can beat a credible boxer," losing, and then picking a less credible boxer. To me, and again, the numbers. Well, I don't know about the numbers, but like you said, the hype and the build-up speaks for itself. No one even knew this fight was on.
No,
it was. When he was fighting Tommy Fury, it was everywhere you looked. When he was fighting Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, it was everywhere you looked.
No one knew about it.
No one was talking about this fight, and it's because he picked someone who.
And there's also a lot of more exciting things going on.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate time with the weekend. Obviously, UFC 296 was going to be dominating the headlines for combat sports, but yeah, it was a weird one for Jake. I don't want to talk about it too much because.
No, I want to move on to, we was in Dublin the other weekend. We had some fun.
I barely remember it. You might have to film me and
you had one too many Guinnesses, isn't it?
No, not the Guinness. It was the whiskies.
Oh, the whiskies.
It was the whiskies. I got into Conor mode. I was on the proper 12s.
Yeah, you was thinking you was Conor McGregor. PFL doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Obviously, we was there with Michael. He got in the ring with Doombay.
Yeah, and obviously that's what kind of sparked the rumours about it, him and PFL.
Yeah.
In fact, not even rumours. There was some outlets actually reporting he signed with PFL. I get why where the confusion came from, because that did look like an official kind of announcement of him versus Doombay. But
that card was so fun. The card was so fun. It was really exciting. Loads of young fighters. The crowd was insane.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was sick. We ended up with Nathan Kelly doing a knockout Irish guy.
I think by that point I was 4 whiskeys deep, maybe 4.5.
Oh, it was just great. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Really.
Now, jokes aside, PFL put on a really, really good show.
Very successful. A few upsets.
Yeah, obviously we spoke about Simeon Powell.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think he's still so young and he's still so early in his career. And we spoke about this at the time. I think when you have an upset, when you have a loss that early in your career, I think it's actually easier to come back from than when you're maybe 20-0 and then you lose, because then it's like, I'm not used to losing. He can still regroup. He's got an amazing team behind him. He's got an amazing fan base behind him. We saw pictures of him out that night, still smiling, bit battered, a bit bruised, but still smiling. He'll come back from this. He's a very, very talented young fighter, and I still think this is only the beginning for him. And actually, when you look back on some of the most spoken about UFC champions, Bellator champions,
they all had their
even
losses
boxing champions, they have their losses early on, and they come back. So this is
better to have it young,
this is a minor bump in the road rather than sort of like a big like roadblock per se. So yeah.
I think before we get our first guest, we're going to do some trivia questions.
Oh, jeez.
But I just don't think it's fair because, like, guys, I'm not being funny. I'm not this
We're gonna get
super MMA fan that's been watching MMA my whole life. Like, I'm very much the more new fight fan.
We got the whiteboard. We're making it official.
I prefer MMA to boxing. I'm not really like boxing. I'm not gonna lie, boxing bores me, guys.
We've still got some boxing to talk about.
Yeah,
we've got some
boxing
to
talk about. I think you're gonna have to educate me on the boxing. I don't know if it's gonna change me. Like, I love MMA in it, so I'm just saying these questions better be fair.
Shout out to our producer off screen. He's going to be throwing the questions at us.
My guy Kish.
Shout out to our runner over there. We've got our executive producer.
We've got
over
a whole team of like 20 people right now.
Shout out to my driver who got me here this morning.
Cap, it's just Kish.
Just me. All right, ready.
What's that? You need me to move my Rolls Royce? I'm doing a show right now. Sorry.
I'm going to ask a question, and you have 10 seconds to write it down.
All right. Yeah? She can't write that fast. She might need help with the spelling.
Spelling's like not part of it, right?
When I say 3, 2, 1, you flip it.
Okay.
This is not fair. I already know that it's not fair.
Right, I'll start with something easy.
Why is my heart beating?
Mayweather's record.
Can we get points if we do it faster?
No, because we have to do 3, 2, 1. I'm already nervous for you.
Oh, you're a dick.
3, 2, 1. Alright, cool.
We've both got that. Say it for the listeners.
50-0, 50-0.
We're going to start stepping up a bit.
Ah, jeez.
Okay. What is the number of the last UFC event? To be fair, that's quite easy. 3, 2.
I feel like you dumbed the questions down just for me.
3, 2, 1.
296.
Lovely.
That's like a 5 to me, Kaz. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Shut up, mate.
Alright.
You don't have to be nice, it's fine.
Who did Conor McGregor knock out in 13 seconds?
These are the baby questions, Kaz. You can do this. I think you got it. That looked like around my letters.
3, 2, 1. Oh, God.
I don't know.
Sure,
I
that means
told you
Joey,
I'm a
maybe
new
Monica?
MMA fan. This is not fair.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, next time.
It's all right.
Yeah, I don't want to show it to camera. It was wrong.
Okay. Who did Canelo last fight?
That's a.
I've
okay.
got this.
Can I just get the last name? Is that
I've
cool?
got this.
Alright, 3. Oh,
Oh wait.
Is it right?
no, he's right.
Oh, you had me worried for a second then.
Fuck's sake. I don't know
He's right,
about
he's right.
boxing.
Nice one, Charlo, yes.
Good fight.
Okay.
Good fight.
Alright, this is an interesting one, okay? Which city has hosted the most UFC events?
I'm gonna go with yeah.
Easy.
Go on then.
3,
Count it down.
2, 1.
This is not fair.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, makes
Yeah, but
sense.
that was
Makes sense.
easy.
That's kind of their
I
flagship.
have confidence in
flagship,
myself, but if I
flagship.
don't know it, then I don't know it.
I'm gonna start-
And
I'm
people
gonna start playing
"Oh,
mind
you're
games. I'm gonna
You're
start
just a
throwing you off.
woman. You
I'm
don't
gonna
know
start throwing
anything
you off.
about fighting.
I'm like, it's spelt London.
Okay. What round did Khabib submit Conor?
Do you know what? That should be such an obvious question, but I'm not too sure. But I think I'm right.
Got it? Alright. 3, 2, 1, 4.
I was torn between 4 and 5, but I
I
didn't.
just
remember...
guessed that.
Oh shit! I just drawn the fucking armchair.
Okay. Final one, because we're running out of time.
No, do more. So you can crop the ones that I got wrong out.
No, we're gonna. Okay. Anderson Silva won UFC 64
Bruv,
And
this is like before I was born.
and successfully defended how many times?
Oh.
Do you know what? I'm guessing here.
Yeah? Alright, ready?
I think I'm wrong.
2, 1. Oh, both of you are wrong. It's 10.
What?
He was
That's
an impressive
mad.
guy back in the day, wasn't he? I was gonna go with mine at first, but then, all right, cool. Cut that one out.
Okay. Final one. How many times did Anthony Joshua get knocked down by Ruiz in his defeat?
I believe. Actually, no. Is that or that? Okay.
I'm just listening to what my heart tells me. Go.
3, 2, 1. 4.
Yeah, I thought it was 4. I wasn't sure.
We both
There
said
was-
3.
Knockdown.
Yeah. The fourth.
We both
Exactly.
said
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
Cool.
I was gonna put 3/4, but I didn't want to cheat.
I
Well
love
done.
this part of the show.
This is fun. This is fun.
That's it. That's it.
Oh no, more.
Alright.
I want more.
Okay.
We've got the first exclusive interview since signing to UFC with the one and only Mr. Michael Venom Page.
We are so excited. Welcome, MVP.
Let's go.
How are you feeling?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm fully gassed. Obviously, pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming, man.
Nah, come on, man. It's something that it's the first interview that I'm doing since signing to the UFC. You guys are close friends of mine. It's good to be able to do something together.
Of course.
And I'm just looking forward to it, man. So I wanted to bring a gift.
He's bringing gift. We like this.
gift.
We like this.
A gift? Oh my gosh.
You know the video that
Oh, so it's official. It's official.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you. What, one each?
One each.
Who's
Oh,
left hand, who's right hand?
no.
Who's South and who's over there? Yeah,
That is sick.
this is making it all feel so real right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
for real,
I'll be real. That's the kind of opening question I want to hit you with. Is like, since I've known you, we've always discussed you potentially going to the UFC one
Yeah,
day. I remember
bro.
when we first discussed it was kind of like, yeah, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
And then in recent years, there's been more of an urgency. How does it feel to finally get the deal done?
It's still a bit surreal. Like, you know, we was watching the presser after the fights yesterday. Just Dana White, just mentioning my name. It's like, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I've been so far away from it, in that sense, for so long that it's just listen to it. It still hasn't quite landed.
I want to know when you woke up today, like, was your phone just going completely mad?
This is what I was gonna say. My phone's been blown up all day,
Ah.
so I can only imagine how your phone.
I feel like I started to the UFC.
People are hitting me up going, "Oh, tell Michael, congratulations!" I'm like, so your phone must be going crazy.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
It's weird because it's kind of happened 3 times. So obviously there was that thing with Dana White. He walked in a podcast. Somebody screenshot
Yep,
the thing in the
yep.
background, and everyone thought I was fighting Kevin Holland
Is that
back
when the
then.
rumours first started?
Yes,
Because
yes.
I saw a poster of them two and I thought it was legit.
Yeah.
I'm sending it to him like, yo, thanks for telling me. You know what I mean? Like, I was
I
pissed.
got it from everyone.
Yeah.
Like all of my people were like, "Yo, what, you just don't want to tell me?"
Yeah.
No? Family was hitting me up. I'm like, "Bro, you know me. I would have let it be known." So that kicked off first. So then my phone was going mad. Then obviously we were there together in
PFL.
in Ireland, and we was outside deciding. I was like, "Oh, should I even go in?" They asked me if I should go in the cage, and I was like, "Well, I'm not signed to anybody yet. I'm not affiliated."
That was weird and it spun a lot of people's heads. So people then thought it was official because you then walked into the ring with Cedric Doumbé and it was like an official face-off.
Yeah.
I think PFL was like buzzing that they got that attention.
Yeah.
But still, it was not official. You hadn't said anything.
Nope.
So it was mind games,
Playing
Michael.
chess, man. Playing chess. But
Chestnut
yeah,
checkers.
it really did. That kind of kicked off another thing because everyone was like, "Oh, Dana fumbled it and this and that and da-da-da." And it was interesting to see people's perceptions of what's going on. And again, my phone's blowing up like, "What's going on, bro?" Like people are confused.
Did you think that then made the UFC say, we need to sign this? Did you feel a sense of urgency after the PFL kind of...
I would 100% say yes. There was a little bit of a lull, even for me. It was getting to the point where even for me, I was like, come on, I kind of want to... Because we've had talks. We'd been flirting already. Guys see me at the UFC. They showed me on the UFC, as the hottest free agent on the market, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then nothing. And nothing, and then nothing, and nothing. So this definitely kind of kicked everybody into gear, both from the UFC, both from PFL, and they were kind of like... it was a bit of a battle, auctioning battle that kind of went through a phase. But literally the last 48 hours has been insane. Finally confirmed. Then we were together watching the fights, and then the announcement is.
Yeah, the way you dropped it.
We're gonna get onto that later.
Explain how you dropped that.
All right, so yeah, obviously you guys at home don't know. We're all chilling, and then, like we've discussed before, there's been a lot of rumors. Some sites have been. It's official, Michael signs with PFL. It's official, Michael signs with UFC. So we're used to seeing these rumors flying around, right? And then Michael picks up his phone and goes, "Oh, apparently Dana White's going to be announcing Michael Venom Page signs to the UFC." And I'm like, "Oh, another silly rumor." And then we're all kind of looking at each other, and you're looking at
No,
us
he
like-
was like, not apparently. He was like, oh, by the way, guys,
Yeah,
Dana's
yeah.
going to be announcing MVP signing
It
at
took
the
a while for the
presser.
penny to drop,
And we
and
were
then
like,
Yeah.
Ollie and Jamal like, "Good word." What? A good word?
Yeah.
and I'm actually proud of myself. I clocked it. I was like,
you
you're
got it.
signing. And then it was like, ah.
Don't get that. Don't try to act like you got it like that. But you're like, so does that mean you've said?
I still got it. I
Nah,
still
you
got
didn't get it
it.
first.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead first.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
You don't take the piss.
Like you said, it's been crazy with like a bit of a bidding war between the two of them.
Yeah.
They both show major interest, and they're both huge organizations. Being as it was between the UFC and PFL, what was it that swung it for you in favor of the UFC in these last kind of 40 hours?
Well, again, the UFC brand, as you know, you've known each other for many years. That's always been a goal. You know what I mean? Even when I got into MMA, the goal was to eventually go to UFC. It was never going to be like. It's just the Bellator thing kind of just was a left turn. It's like, oh, it's a massive organization that was interested in me after my first fight. So again, I still felt like a stepping stone. But then when I got there, I was kind of proud of how they were doing things. I was like, okay, look, I kind of became the face of it, and da da da. So then it kind of that UFC dream got a little bit further and further away. Then PFL, seeing their rapid exploding onto the scene. It was still, again, like, it's like, I'm not 100% set anywhere. But the fact is, the UFC have just got that. It's just that glitter, man.
But the PFL talks must have been pretty serious for you to be kind of like
100.
thinking about it.
100, yeah.
Also getting into the ring.
Yeah.
Were they offering like crazy, what is it, the money or opportunities? Because there's a lot of opportunities I see in PFL. And it's
I think, as you say, in opportunities, I think what PFL are doing is good for the sport regardless. When it's just one person dominating, it makes it a bit more difficult for fighters. You know what I mean? Because they don't have anywhere else to go. You're kind of held by these guys to whatever they put forward. Having options and all, a potential to kind of lean on something else, kind of allows for better pay for fighters and stuff. So definitely PFL were pushing, man, and they got great opportunities for fighters moving forward. Like
They're still going to
UFC,
be there
man.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
But this,
Yeah.
this-
And this is what
there's
we've
just
said for a
something
long
about
time.
it, man.
I've always said the dream for me as your friend and as a fan of you as well is to always see you with those gloves
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
3
yeah.
letters on your hand
And I
and
see it.
to be announced by Bruce Buffer, to be commentated on by Joe Rogan
I
and
can't
Daniel
wait.
Cormier. Do you get what I'm saying?
And
That
wait,
is-
hold on. Miami.
Jeez,
let's talk about
Miami.
Let's talk about Miami.
I mean, it's funny because you often go to Miami after
Yeah,
your fights
it's a
anyway because you've got a lot of family out
Yeah,
there. So this is going to
yeah.
be
Oh my
kind of
God,
like a 2-in-1, right?
That's what I'm
Perfect.
saying. So all my it's weird when I actually spoke to my sister when I was talking about it's done because obviously the time difference. So when I kind of found out it's late but early for her. So I was speaking to her like we were talking really close to my family anyway. So I was speaking to my sister, always get her opinion on X, Y, Z, and I kind of told her and she said she's gassed. Told her opponent gassed. Then was like no, but it's gonna be an MMA. She nearly lost. She was more excited about it being
Yeah.
in Miami.
Yeah,
Like, oh my
I'm
God,
happy
time.
too.
exactly. She's like, yo, it's on the doorstep. Like,
There's no way she's
so
not gonna be
she's
there.
like, we are turning up. Like, everyone's coming down. If that actually does feel like a home away from home, just
course.
because I'm there so much.
Yeah.
You say like, I got so much family over there. It's gonna be great to see. I love fighting in the UK just because of that. I know like I'm very perceptive, so I know even during a fight I can turn around and see friends and family in the corner. So imagine being in
You
Miami.
see them, right?
Yeah, I see them.
Really?
I see them
That's
even on my walkouts and stuff.
crazy. Yeah, because we were like, but what card? And he's like, Miami. Like, hey.
This is what I wanted to come on to well because it's funny because Dana didn't actually officially announce your
Oh,
arrival.
he did it so casual. He did it worse
Yeah,
than
I
me.
was thinking he
did
was
it
going
worse
to
than me
do
at the house.
something
I said it
like
under his
drum
breath. I was
roll.
like, what? Sorry, you know what I mean? Even the press there kind of
Yeah,
commented
like,
on the same
just
thing.
Drop it like that.
So
Yeah, he just read the card out, didn't he? And he just put
Real
Michael
cash.
Venom Page in
No
it.
kind of big
Yeah.
announcement, but I think with your name carries so much weight, you
Yeah.
can say it just like that, and it
it's
drops
still-
hard
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
So that being said, obviously he's announced the fight's going to be against Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
What do you make of him as an opponent? And then second to that, what do you make of the UFC's decision to kind of somewhat put you into the deep end rather than giving you a quote unquote warm up fight?
So I'm going to work backwards. I don't believe I need a warm-up fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always been that age-old thing. What would MVP be able to do at UFC
Yeah.
level? I've sparred a lot of UFC fighters in the gym. This is stuff you see behind the scenes, yeah?
Name drop.
Nah.
Yeah. But who?
No,
Yeah,
kissing and telling. But there's not one of them that can say they've had a good time against me. Not one of them. So I've always known what I'm capable of. Yeah. So then there's no reason for me to have a warm-up fight. I'm a veteran in the game. Been in this a long time now. I know my standard. I know my standard. Know my talent. So I don't need that warm-up fight. So I'm glad that they can see that as well because it also means that they can see my potential as well.
Yeah.
So much respect to them for seeing that. And then Kevin Holland now, I'm a fan of him. It's a great first fight, I think, because it means you saw that one with Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, we're
similar
gonna come
style to
on to that.
myself.
Yeah.
And they had a war.
They had a barn burner, yeah.
But that ain't gonna happen.
Everyone's really excited for this
But-
fight.
Kevin Holland, in terms of the build-up, he talks shit.
I wanted to actually get your reaction to his tweet. So, did you see this?
Oh, he tweeted.
Yeah, he tweeted. So the camera is here. He said, "Will the real MVP please stand up?" Hashtag.
I got you, bro.
Hashtag call Big Mouth. So what is your reaction to that tweet then? Have you not seen that yet?
No.
First live
Exclusive
reaction,
here
yeah.
on the
Reaction
KO
right
show.
The reason why I haven't seen it because, like you said, my phone's been going mad. So I'm literally just responding to family, friends. I haven't had a chance to really
And he
go
put that
online.
picture as well.
That's hilarious. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah.
I ain't be funny. Luke Knight.
Shout out Luke Knight.
Shout out Luke Knight. That's my boy. He's now working for Paradigm. He used to do a lot of. He still does work
Who's
for me.
Luke
but
Knight?
He used to do a lot of like memes. So what you see when I got to the Paul Daly.
Oh,
back and
bro.
forth, Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland needs to understand that.
I mean, this is
You're
gonna be
messing with the wrong one.
This is gonna be slightly different though, because I feel like with Paul Daly there was some genuine
No,
animosity there,
100%.
right?
But you know me, I'm playful anyway. So, and I feel like he is as well. So it's going to be good back and forth, good banter.
Yeah, this is it.
And I feel like done with respect.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
I don't like what I'm seeing nowadays. I don't like when people are talking about people's dead fathers. People are talking about people's partners and,
Mistresses, yeah.
and girlfriends. I feel like we seem to have stepped away from where mixed martial arts. Martial arts being the key
Yeah.
phrase for me. I come from a traditional background. I get the hype. I get the me and you like going back and forth. But leave everybody else out of it. Like
Completely agree.
I have
Completely
no respect for anybody that decides to go down that way. Whereas Kevin Holland, I feel like it's gonna be that.
Yeah.
And people are still going to be drawn to it. They're already going to be drawn to it. 'Cause of the fight.
Respectful.
Respectful. It's going to be respectful. Don't worry, we can talk shit to each other. That's cool because we get to settle it. We get to punch each other in the face and then we get to hug it out afterwards. But you talking about my mum, you talking about my dad, you talking about my sister,
Yeah,
you talking about...
It's funny
what I mean?
because people have a perception of you to be a disrespectful fighter, like in the cage and stuff.
And
But
100% I am.
knowing you as a
But you're respectfully
person,
disrespectful.
yeah, I get it.
But I agree that there's a line you don't cross, and with your trash talk, it's for the most part, it's been between you and the opponent,
Yeah.
and it's still playful,
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Holland carries that same kind of
energy.
that same kind of energy. So I think the build up's going to be amazing for this one.
It still needs to be a level of entertaining almost.
100.
But it's like when people step the line and stuff.
But like I think it was Jamal Hill that tweeted, "There's a million ways to sell a fight, and that doesn't need to be one of them."
Yes,
You know what I mean? You
it's
don't
so
need to be bringing
true.
them.
And the karma come back to him anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah,
we'll talk about that
yeah,
later.
of course.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, so you're a big name from Bellator coming over. This is your UFC debut. Are you going to take inspiration from Michael Chandler when he had his first round knockout against Dan Hooker?
Yeah.
Coming from Bellator?
Like that. What a great start from Chandler. Again, massive fan of him as well. Obviously, we fought on the same shows together and stuff. I've always said the same thing. Every time I was like, you're on a card, or you're not the main card on the show, and there's so many different fights. I'm always the main event. I am always striving to make the biggest noise, make the most, and grab the most attention. And I've done it multiple times. I've been the first fight on the main card, and then people don't even remember who the rest of the card is because I've gone in there and I've done me. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to go in there and do me. People are going to forget what happened that time when Chandler went in there. Respectfully, like it was an epic start, but I'm trying to surpass that.
Do you think you're the biggest name from Bellator to come over to the
I'm
UFC?
the biggest name in the game. Stop!
Well said.
Okay.
Stop!
On that, on part of what made you one of the biggest names in MMA, if not the biggest name in MMA, and we've got some of the props here to kind of
Yeah, thanks
pay
for the
respect to that.
gift.
No problem, man.
Obviously, a massive part of what you do is your in-fight antics,
Yeah.
your post-fight antics, and
Yeah.
obviously the antics leading up to the fight.
Yeah.
Now that you're going over to arguably the biggest organization in the game, are we still going to be seeing the typical showboating we've come to know and love, or are you going to tone it down a little bit, or are you going to...
I cannot be any other way. I think if I try to, it's, when people used to tell me back in the day, oh man, and they do it with love as well. Like, oh, bro, fight with your hands up, man. Just put your guard. They do it with love, and it's more a case of their own. What's the word I'm looking for? Like their own blockages in their head. Like they're picturing themselves.
Almost like their own insecurities. about how they
Insecurities.
fight,
Like, if I was in your position, I'd have to protect myself like this. But that's you. Do you see what I'm saying? If I tried to do anything else, I wouldn't win fights.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know who I am. I wouldn't be sitting here today. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
my growth is because of what I've done, and I'm not gonna steer from it. I'm gonna be true to myself always. And the MVP, that showman, that guy there is just that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's all gonna be the same.
And you become quite a polarizing figure because of it, because not everyone appreciates it, right? I mean, most people do love it, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that say, he's too cocky, he's this, that. We wouldn't be able to get away with this against top caliber opponents. We're now going to get to see that.
But
So.
you know what? One thing that
That's not me saying, that's the fan, you know what I mean?
but
That's the...
one thing that I find interesting though, which again we know this, fans are fickle, yeah, and they'll jump ship so fucking quickly, yeah. But this one for me was just so interesting. Like my whole career at Bellator has been, bro, if you go to UFC, you're getting smacked up, bro. You can't do that at UFC. This, that, I haven't fought at UFC yet.
No.
Just not even before the announcement, yeah. As it was getting closer to like, it's sounding like potentially he's going over to the UFC. People are like, oh, he's gonna smack up this guy. He's gonna smack up that. Oh man, he'd punch up this guy. And I'm like, so what? Where's the change? I haven't even fought yet. I don't understand how all of a sudden you're on my nuts now, whereas before. And don't get me wrong, you can't go with the crowd. It's just interesting to see from. Like just from where I'm standing,
Just the
how
comments
people,
and
just
stuff.
the comments, how people could just chop and change so quickly.
Talking about levels of fighters in Bellator and UFC, how big do you think the difference is, if there is a difference?
I always say this because it is a perfect question, and I'm going to give you two examples. One, the sport is MMA. The sport isn't UFC, so
Yeah.
therefore it's not.
People
it's
don't know
not,
that.
A lot of people don't know
I
that.
love watching UFC.
You train UFC, man.
It's so real. And I get all the time, oh, that's a UFC fan. I'm like, yeah. It's just long to explain. But the sport of MMA, there are so many champions and top level fighters that you'll never see in the UFC, or you've never seen in the UFC. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Now coming over to the UFC, yeah. Look at Theodore. One of the biggest names outside of the UFC.
AJ
McKee, big name outside. So, and I go back even further now. Strikeforce. A lot of the champions that was in UFC came from
when they bought them out.
Strikeforce. You see what I'm saying? So it's the sport first, the show second.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So the sport, like, I'll give you some names. Douglas Lima. If this guy came over to UFC, that's a problem for a lot of people, bro. That's a problem. You know, I saw some fights like yesterday. I'm looking at the Douglas Lima would have killed your leg, bro. that would be over. You wouldn't be walking for a long time. Jason Jackson, new champion.
Yeah.
Like, he comes over. It's a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That, like, MMA is a sport. Like I said, I've sparred a lot of people in the game, and you know, it didn't change because I was in a different show. It's MMA first. You know what I mean?
So to round up, you don't think that there's a big difference of levels?
Don't get me wrong. It's still a show like that draws the top echelon.
Yep.
So you are gonna get, you know, they're just surrounded by. I think it's just being in a certain competition raises that bar.
For sure.
So there are I think on show, these guys are top tier opponents. But I'm just saying you can still find the same level opponents elsewhere.
And going back to what we just touched upon about some people don't literally know the difference between UFC and MMA, it's the letters UFC have almost become synonymous with MMA in the same way that people
100%.
don't say, they say pass me a biro, and sellotape is actually a brand, but people don't even realize that because it's just so. No, but do you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
UFC's become that big that people actually recognize those three letters as the sport itself.
But that's what was such a draw as well.
And that's what I was going to
makes
touch
it such
upon.
a
Are you
draw,
now excited to, obviously your name is huge in the game. Do you think this is going to give you an even bigger platform and give you even room for even further rise?
Yeah, it's great to be signed to MMA.
And to come back to what Kaz said about, you know, the new caliber of opponents, obviously not to overlook Kevin Holland, of course, that's what's right in front of you right now.
Yeah.
But the one fight everyone's been screaming for a long time, before you even discussed going over to UFC, was MVP versus Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
I know you're signed to the same management, but is that a fight that you'd be interested in?
Oh, look, there's going to be stupid amounts of fights that are just exceptional fights. Unfortunately, he lost last night, but the guy's an amazing fiter. And you know, he'll bounce back.
Got a very similar style when I
Very
was watching it
similar
last
style,
night. I
very
was
similar
like,
style.
he looks familiar.
He's the wide version of me.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but not appropriate.
You'll go there.
Yeah, you went there.
But yeah, I think there's untold amounts of fight. But you know what? One thing I'm definitely looking forward to, and I've already seen it in my head, is let's bring the belt to London, and
We'll be there.
Let's bring the fight to England. Leon Edwards, you're still champion. MVP, we're both from the UK. You know what I mean? Again, a lot of respect for him. We're cool. We talk, but we're prize fighters at the end of the day. It's just business.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But for me, it's just the magnitude. Imagine being in the UK. It's
the battle of
UFC in
Britain.
the UK, but it's two English fighters. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just unheard of. Like,
It wasn't that long ago we didn't have any British champions.
that's my
So
point.
now to
Yes.
have
Now all of a sudden,
Crazy.
it's
British contenders
You
for
see
the
what I'm saying?
championship. That's
So,
amazing.
big up Ton Aspinall as well on his win as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, like I can see that. But obviously, there's gonna be a journey for me to get there, and I'm just excited to just even that. As you say, I'm not overlooking anybody. Like everybody that steps in the cage with me, I'm going to be at my absolute best.
And are you coming for that belt then?
That's what I was going to say. I think the fans are going to be really excited to know that it's a genuine title run.
Yes.
It's not just like...
No. Yeah, it's
you know,
not. It's just... Otherwise, there would be no point in me doing it. I'd just gonna get a paycheck and kick back and chill.
Right.
In Barbados. But but yeah, so I just want to say, because I got a head out of here, but it's definitely titles that I'm going for. It's definitely the top. It's definitely seeing MVP at his absolute best. But I've got a leaving gift for you guys as well, though.
Another gift. Wow, you're
Come on, man.
spoiling
Hey,
me.
listen, this is setting a precedent now. Any future guests?
Do you know what I mean? Come with your gloves. Come with your...
It's like Secret Santa's £100 minimum. We're flexible, but that's kind of that's what you're looking at.
So
Oh my gosh.
I've got a gift for you, and it's the official. Okay, if you guys remember, what I'm most famous for, shall I say, is this fight right here.
I just remember him going,
That's the hat. That's the hat.
one.
This is the hat. This is the hat. from the Cyborg. I'm gonna keep building on this though. This is the Pokeball.
No
This
way.
is the Pokeball that was.
That's the Pokeball that you rolled.
This is Cyborg's gum shield. It's got Cyborg's name somewhere on there.
Wait, you took his gum shield?
He took his soul.
I-
He took everything.
No way. I took his gum
Cyborg's
shield.
gum shield there.
And he put it in the Pokemon ball, babe.
There's still blood stains and everything in there. This is
Yummy. Nice.
Yummy.
I'm in shock. I'm genuinely in shock.
So I thought, this is a.
Can I see the hat?
I almost don't want to take that off you, man.
Nah,
That's,
man,
that's
oh my
a piece of
God.
history right
You've
there.
got to put the hat on and do that thing. What did you do? What did you do again?
This is a
piece of
venture.
history right there.
This is a venture.
Wow.
You're gonna see. Again, these two of my good friends. You're gonna see
Nice.
you two everywhere now. I feel like you guys are gonna be my eyes and ears of the MMA.
We're going to be your groupies.
No, you just.
Dominic Thing.
Nah, seriously, I can see. I can see what you guys are gonna do. KO show is gonna be big. You're gonna be everywhere. And I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for all of our journeys come forward. So this is for
Thank
the show.
you so much. And thank
Anybody
you for...
that comes on the show, they have to get a picture of this.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah, yeah.
official
This is a
one.
piece of history
I'm
right
just
there.
letting you know it's the official one. That's what I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Come and get a picture before I put it on eBay.
yeah.
Thank you for introducing us as well, obviously.
Yes.
Me and Ollie,
Honestly, thank you.
now
Yes.
good friends,
Yes.
MMA fans, about to start this journey together.
Friends.
MMA friends.
Joking aside, I know you've probably been inundated with requests for interviews, so we really, really appreciate you.
Yes,
Being the first ever
so
one as a UFC
much.
fighter right here on the KO
Had to
show.
be
So
done,
thank
had
you
to
so
And
much.
we're
for
so
that.
excited
And,
for your
just
career.
the best of luck, man.
Yeah,
I'm not-
man.
you
I'm
know what's so
excited for all
funny?
of our
Actually,
careers, man. Like,
I was
it's
going to say
crazy.
something you probably remember. I've never, ever said good luck to you before a fight. I've always said have fun.
100%.
I've never felt like you've needed it. and
Go
you never
smash
have,
it.
you
And
know
I've,
what I
and I've
mean?
always had fun.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna continue to
Exactly.
have
Just
fun.
keep being you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys.
Nah,
Thank you
for
for
coming.
Love you,
coming.
I love you
Appreciate it.
both. So
One more thing before you go, if we've got time. Obviously, we've got a massive. I know we're deviating a little bit from MMA, but I know you're a massive boxing fan. We've got some big fights next week.
yes.
Give us your prediction for Wilder and for AJ, and how those fights you think you see playing
Prediction
out.
wise, Wilder. I'm a Parker fan as well. I just think Wilder's power is just insane, and then that sets up Wilder being ready for an opponent, and then you got AJ. To be fair, I'm not too familiar with his opponent, so I'm just going to give it to AJ. That sets up AJ, and then these two, hopefully sets up them two, maybe back in Saudi again, because everything seems to be going that way. So, those two are the ones to win.
It's a massive month in the world of combat, and I think this is arguably
This
the
is the
biggest
start.
news. This is the biggest news to hit the MMA world for a long time, especially in the year.
100.
So yeah, man, I say
Let's go.
congratulations. I'm excited for you. Can't wait to see what comes,
Congratulations. Have a great Christmas.
Yes, you
See
too.
you next
man.
year.
Yes.
See you in Miami.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Yeah, what?
Ollie, I don't know about you, but I'm buzzing after that interview, after our first episode.
Listen, that's how you start a show. That's how you launch a show. You have the
Yes.
biggest guest in the game come and again we had the exclusive scoop on his his future career at the
We've
UFC.
got everything. We've got his gloves. We've got his Pokeball.
It's going to be big, and I'm so gassed that we got the first ever interview with him as a UFC fighter, and I'm so excited to see where his career takes him in the UFC. And I think he always delivers, and I think he's gonna continue to do so.
We're going to go straight to the boxing.
Yes.
So I'm going to just ask you some of the fights, and I just want you to give your quick opinion, like quick fire opinion, how it's going to go, your predictions.
Yes.
1 sec, let me get it up. Okay. So this is the Saudi card. By the way, did you see the trailer for it?
No.
The promotion?
No.
Oh my God, you need to watch it. It's like zombie apocalypse.
Oh,
Everyone's
serious?
in it. Yeah, they got everyone. Have you seen it, Kish?
I have, yeah.
Oh my God,
It's
sick,
cool.
isn't
It's
it?
really cool.
It's actually
really
really,
cool,
it's not
yeah.
cheesy
He's
at all.
been-
Okay, so Daniel Dubois versus Jarrell Miller.
That's an interesting fight. Big Baby, he actually popped for PEDs at one point. Was billed to fight Anthony Joshua again at one point as well. I'm going with Dubois. Jarrell's dangerous. Maybe I'm being a bit biased, London boy and that, but yeah, I'm going with Dubois. for that one.
Dubois. Dimitri Bivol versus Lyndon Arthur.
That's a massive fight.
Massive fight for Lyndon as well.
Yeah. I'm really glad to see Lyndon get a massive fight like that. I think he deserved it for a while.
Manchester.
Yeah. But I hate to say it, I think Beevor's on another level. I really do. I think that goes his way, unfortunately. It'll be a good fight, and I'm not saying Lyndon can't. It would be an upset if he won. I think on the cards he's probably the underdog. But yeah, I've got to go Dimitri, unfortunately. Begrudgingly, I want Lyndon after.
Begrudgingly. Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker.
Arguably, that aside from Fury, that's Deontay's toughest test. But I just think Deontay's just too big, and that right hand's just ridiculous. I don't think people. I've never obviously been in the ring with him and sparred with him, but I think people really don't understand just how hard that guy hits. That the fact that he's able to cause knockouts with this much distance, and the fact that his knockouts are just scary. I think the power he produces with that right hand is just on another stratosphere. And I think, unfortunately, if he will catch Parker at some point.
What's the
it's going to
exact
happen.
predictions you reckon is going to happen?
I think he can put him away. I think Wilder's that dangerous. Joseph Parker's.
Do you think it's going to go like distance or be
No,
early?
I don't know. I think if it goes to distance, it favours Parker. But I believe that Wilder will catch him at some point and unfortunately put him away. But again, I say unfortunately, I'm a fan of both of them. I don't have any skin in the game in terms of like a vested interest of who I prefer. But I just want to see a good fight, and I'm sure it will be.
Anthony Joshua and Otto Wallin, main event now.
So again, I don't know a lot about Otto Wallin's career, but again, I would be surprised if he's not the underdog in this. AJ looked good in his last fight. Got the finish, and I think he'll win. Whether he'll finish and whether it'll go down on points, I don't know. But I'm rooting for AJ on this one.
Go root for AJ. So yeah, exciting times.
That is a huge card. I don't think people understand. Each one of those fights could have been a separate card in its
massive.
own right.
And
so for them to be putting them all on one, Saudi Arabia are doing big things in combat sports. So I'm really excited to see more and more events like this. And this is the thing, it's interesting because more time with boxing, you get a big main event, and then, I don't mean to say any disrespectful way, but kind of more unknowns on the undercard.
Yeah.
It's usually, MMA cards where it's stacked with big fights. And now boxing's kind of going that way, and I'm really excited to see more fights, more cards like this. So hopefully they're setting the trend for that.
Yeah, the thing that doesn't really appeal me to boxing is just all of the politics. And,
I agree.
The unfairness and everything is kind of set up almost, that I find.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think where MMA is normally done by one division, so obviously namely UFC having sort of monopoly on it, because it's all under one roof, it's kind of like you're fighting him on this date and that's that. It's not my promoters wants me to fight him and this promoter wants it, and you don't get these kind of like, oh, well, we want to protect our fighter and you want to protect yours, and let's maybe make them fight next year instead, because you have sort of Dana White kind of calling the shots to a degree, and obviously the rest of his team. It's kind of like you're going to fight him because you're the number one contender, and it goes down that way, and that's why the fights that are billed to be the big fights do tend to happen in MMA. You don't see people ducking people for years and years, and then it only happening when they're past their prime. So
they were saying this about the promoters, like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, under the same kind of event now. It's like a massive thing because they had beef or whatever. Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully the tide will turn a little bit with boxing, and I think we are seeing it more now. Like for example, Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. I feel like back in the day, that's a fight that would have taken years to happen, and it materialized quite quickly. So I'm really excited about that.
I think also like we're talking about the women and the men and stuff, and in the boxing it's just such a drastic difference. Even the fact that I didn't know, but there's 2-minute rounds only in women's boxing.
Yeah.
Like that's completely different. That's why I was watching the UFC last night. The women's fight was so sick. I just felt even PFL the pay for the women is the same.
Yeah.
So I love to talk about my
boxing
my
gals.
gals.
Boxing is slowly catching up, and I think that's a good thing. I've always been a big supporter of women's sports in general, and I like to see that combat sports are kind of almost leading the way with regards to like equal pay and equal viewership, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, as we carry on with this show, maybe my opinion will change on boxing.
Yeah. Listen, there's.
But I don't think it will.
This card, if this card doesn't change your mind on, doesn't make you an even bigger fan of boxing, then nothing will. 'Cause I think this card's going to really deliver.
Yeah, you need to watch the trailer. It's fucking.
I can't believe I haven't seen it yet. I can't believe I haven't seen it. I'm behind
after.
on that. Yeah. But I've been so swept up in what's going on in the world of MMA right now. I've barely taken my eyes off it.
Crazy.
So yeah.
I'm so excited for the KO show.
The KO show is here.
Yes, it's here. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into our first episode.
Yeah.
We have been your guests. Sorry, not your guests, your host, Kaz Crossley
and Ollie Sutherland. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you liked about the show, what you want to see more of. We're going to be bringing more exciting guests on. We've set the bar high with guests, so we've got to continue.
Yeah. We're only going to get bigger and better.
Yeah. We're probably going to bring some big guests your way. So let us know who you want us to talk to.
Don't judge me on my trivia. I'm still learning.
But yeah, hit that bell to be notified, and join us next time.
Subscribe, comment, like, share.
All that
Mwah.
stuff.
We will see you next time.
See you next time. Peace.